Hello. It is another beautiful day here on planet Earth. Had so much sunshine, and I know all of us who are experiencing the sun right now are just so deeply grateful for it, as it seems to be really helping us lift out of a very dark stretch. So today I am wanting to talk about a big event that's going on in Canada and is inspiring the same events or movements around the world, and it's called the Freedom Convoy. And I want to offer a metaphysical perspective of a different perspective of what's going on here. So those of us who understand that we are in process of a major unprecedented shift in our human consciousness, we understand that this whole past 2 years has been very important and necessary for us to, it's been serving as the catalyst that is helping sort of jar us out of our old conditioning and pushing us into making new choices, which is, of course, requiring a lot of deep inner work. And so what I see with this convoy is, I mean, at some point, something had to happen, right? So we've had 2 years of experiencing, well, as we embody more light, we see what's been hiding in the dark. And that's how I define dark, is deception. Those aspects of ourself that we hide from ourselves and that we hide from others. So the great thing about what we've been experiencing the last 2 years is that because we are seeing more and more and more of the oppression, the corruption, all of that has been in our world for a very, very long time, because we have been in a very low cycle of consciousness, low levels of consciousness. The great thing to celebrate is that we see it, and it's not always easy to remember that, because it's easy to get sort of swept up in the darkness and the fear that energy holds, and there is an intention of dark to hold fear often. And it's utilized. It's a very powerful tool, I guess, for those who wish to remain in the dark. So this Freedom Convoy is like, it's a ground level 3D, if you will. It started out as this line that was starting to really move and pick up momentum. Literally a straight line. And we are shifting from linear consciousness into our multidimensional consciousness. Very different experiences of ourself, very different experience of reality and creating reality. So that line of trucks and vehicles in motion started to pick up this momentum, and now it's continually building in different spots around the country, around the world. That is more representative. So you can see the difference. There's that old linear, like it's just a representation, and now it's starting to branch out, which is more representative of multidimensional consciousness. And the energy, the intention that this movement is holding is high vibration. It is love, and it is an opportunity. It's something that we are co-creating to come together and learn how to work together, because we are shifting from an old world that functions from that top-down hierarchy. And in that model, we had learned to blindly follow what those at the top would tell us. And we suppressed our own ability to think for ourselves. And obviously we're seeing that is changing very rapidly. So with this whole, something had to happen, right? The last 2 years, very, very heavy, very dark. A lot of moving parts, very exhausting, very stressful for so many reasons. Something had to give, right? Something had to shift. And this just is that. At least it's the first one. It's the first event collectively that we are, we're all jumping on board and raising our consciousness, and yet still we're going to have our flip-flops, right? So my invitation is to always see this and everything, like when you're consciously manifesting, see it from the end game and trust that everything that you are inspired to do along the way, whichever direction it takes you, because it's multidimensional, it's not A to B, and it swirls around. Everything that you feel inspired to do is perfect. Now, seeing this as the end, from the end game, know that this is already done. The light wins. It's done. We are just experiencing the play out of that right now. So again, coming back to just trusting in what you're inspired to do and to follow that. And a big part of this for us is learning to discern what's inspiration and what's fear. So being reactive in fear, learning what that feels like, how we are when we are reacting in fear, getting to know ourselves in that way, and then learning what's inspiration. It's very, very different. Inspiration is so subtle. It's so easy. And there's always some joy around it, within it, whatever. So that hopefully is helpful. And this, when we acknowledge that this is already done, this does require a balance for us in knowing that it's done and doing what we feel inspired to do. I guess what I mean by that is, for some of us, we're all going to feel inspired in different ways to do different things. We are shifting out of conformity consciousness, which is based in fear, and we are moving into unity consciousness, which is based in love. And again, the mantra for unity consciousness that I was given was, I live in loving acceptance of all that is. So we are starting to learn to accept that we all have free will. We all have the freedom to make different choices. And combining that with light and love. And so this is what this movement is because there are those who are saying you don't have free will. But that's not true. And many of us know this. And so we are standing strong in that truth, in that knowing, and saying, no, that's not how this works. And in this, we are literally creating a new world. So this whole movement right now, because we're seeing a lot of light energy just expanding and gaining power, because we as individuals are learning to trust in our power. Hallelujah. And we are seeing a pushback from the dark. So, which that's just going to happen. So this whole thing will play out as long as it needs to. So for anybody who might feel in some way desperate for this to be over, it can't end now. It's not enough has moved. Not enough has shifted in our collective consciousness. There are still so many who are in the old conditioning of blindly following what we are told, and not yet having a willingness to listen and to explore different perspectives. So I get so much energy when I think about this. So I get this little like trembly in me. So needing to take some deep breaths. Just looking at my notes. Right. So if it stopped now, we wouldn't make that big shift. It just wouldn't happen. So if everything stopped and opened up, the potential for it to just happen again would still be there. So it has to all go. All of the old energy, all of that oppression, all of that. We have to reveal all of it. And even when lockdowns and those types of things are lifted, our work is not done. There's a lot more to do. And what I see is that this year is going to, we are in the process of tipping the scales, and the momentum is building and building and building. So we're creating this massive snowball of light, in a sense. And it's just going to draw out all aspects of darkness within our world that we do need to see, so that we never allow this again, because we are now in that cycle of higher consciousness that we're done with learning from low consciousness, and this is just that process of getting used to it, refamiliarizing ourselves with something that is very innate. So learning to discern the difference between love and fear within yourself, that's a big part of this process. So instead of always holding the focus out there on what's going on, put like 90% of that focus on what's going on here. And learning to trust in love, learning to trust in your power, learning to trust in light. There's something about this too, that because there's almost like, this, we are going to also need to heal within ourselves. And it's very valid, I don't know who to trust. We have these leaders, and who can you trust? And coming through this, we are going to need to, again, communicate with our hearts and learn to see the light in others, and learn to open ourselves up to trust, because right now it makes sense if we are traumatized. I see this as this whole last couple of years is we are probably just starting to heal our collective trauma from our history of living in oppression, which even on a soul level, we knew what was happening, and we agreed to come in and have these experiences. On a human level, it's very traumatizing. So, so coming into knowing that you are safe and you are free, you have free will. This is divine law. Nothing overrides this. Nothing overrides this. So living in that space of knowing that we are free. This morning, I woke up. I don't know if you have this experience, but I often wake up and there's a song playing in my head. And I'm always like, where did that, I wasn't listening to that song last night, or why is this playing in my head? I don't know who this woman is. I call her Native Goddess because I know she is indigenous to North America. I believe she's American. But her music just touches me so deeply. And this one song, this line, this lyric in this song just kept playing in my head. She sings, "What you gonna do with your freedom?" And so that really inspired this video. So knowing that we are free, and as we come through this, what are you gonna do with your freedom? What does that mean? What does that look like? This is such a balancing act of, being proactive and going within and, continually doing our inner work, continually tuning into our light, into our trust in the light, into our trust in ourselves, in trusting in this process, knowing it is done, and we are emerging as a new human, a new humanity. And we think we knew freedom prior to 2 years ago, not compared to what we are creating now. So what are you going to do with your freedom? Who are you? Right? If this movement stopped right now, the momentum, we stand more of a chance of defaulting back into our sedentary lifestyle, which we can't, because we are literally in a new energy cycle that is going to keep bringing us higher and higher and higher. So we need to just really focus on attuning ourselves into that energy and checking in with ourselves. Who am I? Who am I as a higher being, as a more highly evolved human? What does that mean for myself? What does this mean for our communities, our societies, our civilization? It's very exciting. It's very, very exciting. So I'll leave you with that today. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you are enjoying this time. I hope you are taking some time for yourself to balance because it's a lot of energy. And so it makes sense if you are feeling afraid or overwhelmed or frustrated or anything like that. Give yourself some time to get out in nature, go for a walk, play with a child, an animal, any of those things that help you to feel good. Do some yoga, do some breathing, dance, laugh more, please. Yeah, amazing times. So much love to you. Peace.